here, back with another YouTube video on the channel. Hopefully you guys are having a great day. Today we're doing another video on the Mighty AU number 2, the Ute. Today we're pretty much just doing a general service on the car. We have some stuff here. We have some coolant, we're gonna do an oil change, that's some engine flush, and I also have some spark plugs. So we're gonna pour the engine flush in first, let it idle for 10 minutes, get all the junk out of the engine that's been sitting for ages. Then we'll do an oil change whilst it's still warm, because we wanna have all that dirt that's inside just kind of obviously come out in the oil. And then we'll drain the coolant and do the spark plugs. So let's get straight into it. All right, we have an engine flush here. We're just gonna chuck in the oil fill cap and let the car run for about 10 minutes or so on idle. There we go. Nice juicy pour. Let that all get inside there. Very nice. Alright, so it's been 10 minutes, we've shut off the engine. Now all it's left to do is let that cool down a little bit, just so all that oil can seep down and go into the oil pan where we're about to take it out and do the oil change. We have the oil filter here. Just gonna twist this one off. Oh, she's untight. This is gonna be a tough one, boys. Oh, it says 2016 on it. That was the last oil change. Fuck. After a little bit of beating, she's coming loose. So here we go. She's coming. I don't know how many fucking threads there are on this thing though. Oh, there she goes. Alright. I've already loosened up mostly. I think it's just finger tight now. Alright, here we go. There we go. Oh, that is just, that's completely black. Your engine oil is not supposed to look like that. We'll let that drain out. We'll chuck on the new stuff and fill her up with some new oil. Alright, we have our new Z9 Ryco filter here. I've already lubed up it and we're just going to install it because the oil pan is pretty much empty and we're about to take it out. But we'll chuck this thing in first. Okay, she's in there nice and tight. Okay, we have a drain plug here. We're just going to apply a bit of Loctite because the O-ring is absolutely shot. Don't want to put too much, but this stuff isn't, this stuff is hand tight, Loctite. It's not the real strong stuff. So I'm not locking the oil drain plug forever. I'm just making sure it's in there nice and tight. Yeah. Right guys, we're gonna go for a straight pour. We got some Nylon full synthetic 10W40, it's pretty cheap. It's on sale, so I got it. We're just gonna straight pour it because mama ain't raising a bitch. So here we go. Oh. Probably wasted about 400 mil here, but that's alright. Look at that. That's what the color of the oil should look like, boys. Right guys, so we are taking off the lower hose of the radiator and then we are going to drain it all out. Then we're going to put the hose back on and then after that we are going to put some more water in it and then repeat that same process until the water's clearer. I should get coolant flush, but I'm not too worried. I think it will take 10 years to actually drain everything out of it, so I just want the coolant to be a lot better. But we're not going to go to the extent of making it completely clear and perfect, but we're just going to repeat this process a few times. So let's undo this clamp and see that rusty water come out. It's starting to drip. Yep, there it is. Oh, that's disgusting. There we go. That is just pure rust water. Oh, it's coming out everywhere. Whilst that's draining, we're just gonna open up the radiator cap to get some more flow. There we go. And that should be draining a little bit faster. We might actually just get a hose and chuck a bit of water in that top area, let it kind of go through, because that water is just completely black. If you guys can see that, no good. We're also going to fill up the water from the other side of the radiator, that top hose, to try and get all that stuff on the other side as well. So. Oh, that's number 4. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'll see you guys after I do a few more flushes because I don't have to do a lot, I'm telling you. Right guys, so I have done a few flushes. It's looking pretty clear. Below the thermostat and all that other stuff, that's probably still dirty. So we're gonna fill up the coolant now. I've tightened up both of those clamps so no water will leak. And then we're just gonna start the engine, let it idle. I've already checked the oil on the dipstick and that's looking perfect. It's full to the brim, which is excellent. Yeah, hopefully this should mix the water with the dirty, rusty crap, all that stuff. And then we can just drain it. Maybe do that a few times, see how it is. And then we can chuck some coolant in. All right, fingers crossed that the car doesn't blow up. The only thing we have to do now is let that idle a bit, let the all that stuff flow. Repeat the process of just cleaning it out a bit. I'll probably do it once or twice, honestly. I'm not too worried. And then we'll chuck some good coolant in it and we'll do the spark plugs. So once we do that and let the engine cool down, I want to have a look at this oil. Like, just look how black that stuff is. All right, we'll see if there's anything I don't want to see down the bottom of this. I don't feel any metal pieces, which is a good sign. I'm looking for anything that's oddly suspicious. Like, look how gooey that is. The oil should definitely not be that thick. Can't see any metal pieces, which is good. Don't feel any either. Yeah, I think it's actually pretty good. Just hasn't had any good service in the past long time. Right guys, I've done the flushes. The water's looking a whole lot clearer now when it's coming out, but before we put the coolant in and get this engine hot, I have these NGK spark plugs we're just gonna chuck in. Yeah, we'll just do that before we do the coolant. So I'm just gonna take off each plug, just like that. And then the spark plugs, pretty basic. You guys don't know how to do this, then you shouldn't be working on your own car. And we have to do this 6 more times, and then we chuck in the new plugs. Alright, so I've taken out the old plugs. Obviously not the best condition, and I think one of them was like bent in a bit. Anyways, I'm not too sure because I don't have a feeler gauge to see the measurements, but I think the gap is a little bit shorter in the old ones compared to the new one I have here. It's hard to eyeball it and notice a difference. Let's just see if it likes it, because the old spark plugs might have a smaller gap, but it's really just too hard to tell just from looking. All spark plugs and wires are now in. We're just gonna top up the coolant and then we'll give it a crank, see how she goes. Oh, look at that. That was pretty good actually. That was actually a mechanic standard freehand pour. That was so good. Nothing's leaking, which is good. We're just gonna keep filling this thing up until she's full, and then we'll chuck a little bit more on after we start the engine. Misfiring a bit. Kind of more water though. Oh no, it's not even draining. It's misfiring a bit. fine. I think we're good. Seems to be running good. I think it's got to let it warm up a bit. Kind of go through that coolant. I know oils, spark plugs. Yeah, not bad. I'm pretty satisfied with that result. It is sounding a whole lot smoother, but there's only one good way to test it. So let's get into that. Side note, I received this in the mail, these nuts, which go into these holes so you can take out the radio. So we're just gonna quickly put in this piece here. There we go. Oh, look at all the dust of this thing. There we go. That she's out. I've tried cleaning out that back bit as much as I can, but that's the best it's gonna be. And there it is in. It's obviously not the same color, but it doesn't look too out of place because this is kind of a more lighter tone. But all we need is a head unit here, and then yeah, this dash and center console is done. If you guys have made it this far in the video, I'd just like to give you a quick thank you. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to give the Ute a drive today because there's a problem we're having. Sometimes the car will just rev out to 3,000 RPM, 2,500, like it'll slowly just start revving up like on idle or just randomly. So I kind of don't want to drive it when it's doing that and like overheat the engine. So we're just going to get that looked at. If you guys know what that is or have any idea, then chuck it down in the comments. Like I've cleaned out the throttle body, all that stuff, the mass airflow sensor, and I'm just not too sure myself. So yeah, that's pretty much going to conclude today's video. So let us know what you reckon of it down below in the comments. Obviously like it if you did, dislike if you didn't, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Ciao.